Hello, welcome back to video 4. I plan to just keep doing these, mainly for my documentation in the future, but also it's really cool to, as I said before, to share my process of how I write songs and how some songs came to be, because the songwriting process is such a cool and interesting thing. You know, a lot of these songs, especially this one, I had like a little idea of what I wanted what I wanted it to be, but I had no idea what it was going to be about, and I just followed the song, and this became this. And when this came out last year, when I was releasing it under my own name, Ben Ruig, uh, a lot of people really liked this song. It was on it was one of three that I'd released: Bring It Back Again, Slow But Steady, and If I Had a DeLorean. And so I'm going to take you through this one. This is cool. It's a bit weird sometimes because of some things that happened and didn't really happen. And anyway, so I just want to say that the song lyrically is about when I was, I'd been on these things called citalopram, which is a like an anti-anxiety medication, and I'd been on it for quite some time, and I was coming off of it. And I always had this question in my mind, and I was always wondering whether or not I was feeling good because of me having fixed and being healed. Was I healing myself, or was I feeling good and okay because this drug was designed to do that? And I got lost and was in a really weird headspace, and I didn't really know how to talk about it. So it ended up that the lyrics are about that. Hence why some people ask me, what do you mean by little white pill, which is what I sing in the first verse. And I'm actually talking about if you know citalopram, it's a little white pill. So I'll talk about the lyrics a bit later on, but that was the whole idea. I didn't really know that about the song when I was going into it. I sort of had written the riff, and then that came about. So let's just have a look at this riff, because I find it very funny. And the reason I find it funny, let me just, I'd actually just, these are all bounces, all commits. The reason I find it funny is that I wanted to write a song that had like a really cool, gnarly sounding riff. Like something that somebody might want to learn how to play. And when I ended up writing it, it never ended up, well, I mean, I thought it was cool at the time, and then later on I remember sitting down with my guitar and playing an A minor shape with a A minor 7 and putting the G on the first string on the 3rd fret, and basically it's just an arpeggio of G minor 7, and I kind of laughed at myself a little bit because I tried to come up with this really cool riff, and it is cool, but at the same time it was like just A minor 7 arpeggiated, and that really drove the song. And naturally I felt like I wanted to go to D, so that the song is in drop D, and it opens with this guitar riff. I've actually got two guitars. One thing I was always really interested about when I write guitar stuff was being inspired and thinking about always, like, if I've got multiple guitarists on stage, if I've got two guitarists, what are they going to do? Bands like Pearl Jam, where Stone Gossard and Mike McCready, and they sort of they mix typically like one left and one right, and different amps and different guitars. Lots of bands do it. It's not just them, but they were one of the real inspirations on this song. And I've always been inspired and influenced by Korn because of Head and Monkey, the way that they work off each other. And it's not really so much happening in this song, but I like, when I was writing these riffs and thinking about what I was doing, I was definitely thinking about that sort of stuff. So we open with this riff. And as you can hear on I believe the left channel, it's whatever it is, it switches around. I've got it around the wrong way. The left channel. It switches around, and it carries on holding out the note where the other guitar doesn't. Now the other thing that I did with this is that there's a dun, da, 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 ba, ba, da, da, da. And so the two guitars are playing the same part at the beginning, but when they get to that, one is like playing like a fourth interval, and then the other's playing a power chord interval, and they're together. So if you have a listen, you'll hear that. You can't tell in the recording, really. So that's the power chord, and this one is the fourth. and together it just makes a big chord. It's obviously it's just a power chord, but it just sounds, I thought it sounded cool, so I did that. And the bass is just, it's not actually playing that riff, it's just kind of holding down its own thing. Let me find, I'll just duplicate this. So I'll just put the bass in by itself and we'll have a listen to what it sounds like. Yeah, so it's not implying it's going to D, it's just sitting there on A. And then naturally, the chord I wanted to go to was D. So it's A minor 7, I guess, or A minor, and then goes into D. And one of the things I was thinking about was, you know, what are the guitars going to do? So if you have a listen here, just towards the end of the, so middle of the first verse, we get the guitars that like pop in. Left side. Why did we part ways? Yeah, and then typically I want that to come in and happen again at the end of that verse, but then both guitars do it. Yeah, so that is something that I like to think. Those things I like to think about a bit. You know, like why am I putting this here? Why am I playing this? And even to this day, we keep that. You know, when we play it live, we have that there. Now the chord that I'm playing in the chorus is actually like I would say it's an F major 7. So I'm playing, because we're in drop D, 3rd fret, and then at the very end, let me just grab my guitar, which is over here. I don't know if I've got it in a funny tuning. I think I do. I think I was playing, is it? Oh, we're in normal tuning, okay. So I'm playing this F. Gives it this like F major 7 sound. So we've got F, power chord, got the C, and then we get the E. And then most of the time I do ring out this G here. So it's like an F major 9. And it sounds really cool. And then it resolves to just like a power chord of A. And then I made the shape up. Or just found the shape where I'm playing D, but I'm kind of creating a, let's just have a look at this one. So it's you can definitely hear the major 3rd. Oh, no, that one, it's this one here. So it's got that 9 there as well, which is the E. So we're F sharp, back to D, so you got that octave there. Another F sharp, so you got the octave here as well. Then you've got this A, and then you've got this E. So it sounds really... No, just sus for that. So one guitar's doing that, the other guitar's just simply playing, I believe it still does this chord, it gets to here, and then it goes down to here. So again, thinking about like two guitarists doing different things to make it sound big and cool. So let's just have a listen to that part. This is the chorus here. Go. So the left guitar's doing that, just the standard, and then the other guitar on the right is doing this one. Now this chord. So those two together in that chorus make this really big sort of sound, because it's kind of doing the same thing, but there's different voicings amongst both guitars, and there's no other guitars there. It's really just those two guitars. When I got to the second verse, I found this really cool thing, and I've always been inspired and influenced by bands that do this, where they basically take some sort of ostinato or arpeggio, ostinato or motif, and play around with it. And in this case, it's just this. So here we get this diminished fifth. Here we got this fifth. But when we think about the diminished fifth in the key of D, so we've got A minor here. So this creates A minor 7 because we've got the C here And we've got the G here. And when I play this D, it's a diminished fifth sound, but that's because it's like it's a D7 chord. So when I play it, yeah. So that was quite fun to come up with, and that's that idea. This thing here. This actually shows up and later on in the song, and we'll get to that bit later on. But that's what the second verse is based on, is developing that idea first. We don't have it in the first verse, but we have it in the second verse. So let's just have a listen to that part there. Second verse would be here.
The skies are red, but the world is gray. Will you bring me back to life?
And as you can hear, so one guitar, the one on the left, is doing the just basically palm muting this, these power chords. And now I'm moving up through, because I haven't done it before in the first verse, I'm going up to C. And then the second time around, adding that like same thing I did in the first verse, this part here. Yeah, and then on top of that you got this on the left-hand channel. When we got to the pre-chorus, or like the little connection between verse 2 and the chorus, second chorus, I really wanted to, throw that riff back in, because we haven't really heard it too much. We've only sort of heard it the introduction. So I throw it back in, and I do this thing where one guitar does it, then the other guitar joins in and does it, and then we go back into the chorus, and then we get to the solo. So let's just have a quick listen to where that is. I think that's here. And then back into the chorus, and then out of this chorus, like hold the last note, or I sing something. I'll talk about the singing later on. But then the guitar solo in this is actually pretty cool, pretty straightforward, and very simple. It's as the guitarist in our band Matt likes to say, I love my unisons, which I really do. I love the sound of one note bending up to another, and other artists have used it before, but the ones that really got me was Korn. I used to listen to so much Korn as a kid, and I used to really love Head and Monkey and the way that they approached ideas and things. And unisons was one thing I learned, like from Adidas and stuff like that. So this solo is not even really a solo. It's more of something where I'm just adding unisons in. So have a listen to this. Now it doesn't actually, that last unison doesn't actually resolve really, it sort of holds back. It wasn't intentional, but it sounds cool. I always remember that. Lots of delay, wah-wah at the end, so just give it that. There's that part in the middle there where it's just like wow, 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 just sounds, cool. And it's so simple. So when we do it live now, we added this really cool thing that Matt came up with where we sort of do a couple of stops, but it's cool. And then, I like having what I call like a quiet chorus, but it's different. So we come out of this.
All these caracals, they build this wall to help me when I fall.
And that's where we go into one of my favorite parts of the song, and that's the last chorus, because I'm adding something new in a couple of places to really help build that and give it like another feeling. When I sing this song, this is one of my favorite songs to sing. It's in my range quite comfortably, and I get to go back and think about what I've been through and where I've been and what I've done and how I feel about certain things, and just let it out. And the vocals, which I'll get to a bit later on, there's some I'd done some extra ad-lib stuff, and I eventually cut that out just to allow some of the more guitar melodies to ring through. So I want to show what I'm doing here. And See that all this has been bounced. I think it's here. It can't be this one. It must be this one here. No, that's me. See, where is it gone? Where is it gone? Do we find it? I'll be where I fall. So it's the same idea that I had during the second verse, but it's got a different context now. And I love thinking about how, notes work with other chords. So we got this, the C, and by the way, the tuning was slightly off when I recorded that. I am aware of this now. But so we got the C and this C and G, but it's over F, right? And then it goes to A, which is fine. And then it holds there longer, and then it goes to D. Yeah, and so it's the same idea as the verse, but it's just elongated through the C and G part until it goes to, until it changes in the D. And then after that, typical Ben Ruig thing that I do, just talk to anyone that's ever been in a band with me and written songs with me, is I love octave solos. Again, something I learned from Korn, and there's a band actually called the Wild Hearts, and when my dad came home one day when I was young with a CD that was like $2 that he got from the bargain bin, he had no idea that how inspiring and influential that CD is to me. I remember showing somebody a song recently and they were like, haha, I could have sworn that was you if I'd closed my eyes. I'm like, yeah, because that band really was the blueprint for me as a songwriter. When I started hearing it, it's like, what is this? This is energy. I wanna find out how to harness that. And one of the things they use is these really cool, big, rock chords like Foo Fighters use, and then they have this really sweet as melody which is done with octaves on the guitar. So this is where the climax of the song is coming, and I'm just letting all my emotions out vocally, and then this part comes in on the octave. I remember singing that song back in, I think it was March. I wrote that song, maybe April of 2019, and getting to that chorus and just letting the music take over me, and I felt something. Music to me is so precious and special, and it's when it makes you feel things, it's just so beautiful. It might sound artsy, but if you know what I'm talking about, and as I said, like that time of my life, I'm started having to take this medication to try to make myself feel good, and all these chemicals, they build this wall around me to protect me when I fall, to surround me and to protect me when I fall. But I can't hide from what's inside. Slow but steady, I'll be ready to find a way out. And I think those lyrics, when I wrote them, they just came out of the consciousness and just subconsciousness. They flowed out of me, and I was very happy with being able to express that. And then the melody on top of that in that song always gets me. The last part, the switch between the sus4 and to resolve into the major third is it's just so fun to sing live, man. It's such a cool feeling. So let's have a look at some of these lyrics and break them down, and then you can go and have a listen to the song, and maybe you'll hear some new things that you haven't heard before. Oh, by the way, drums, now it's all bounced anyway, but the drums really were all drums that I'd found from the Stephen Slate pack. All the fills I'd figured out. Nothing, I actually programmed nothing here. It's just, it's cool when you can find a beat that's already pre-made that sounds fantastic, that links up and matches your riff idea. And that's what happened in this song. I think a little bit of the times, or some of the time, it might be that the drums inspired some of the ways that I played some of these riffs, but it's that beautiful combination of both. So let's just go through these lyrics. I haven't really talked about too many of the lyrics in some of my other songs, so let's have this one to me is important, so let's listen.
Little white pill, do you love me still? Why did we part ways? And now I have you back, like a panic attack. I will never let you go.
So I'd come off that medication for a little while, and then I was back on it. I think that was the third time I was back on it. Third time? Second or third time. Wasn't the first. Gone off, come back on it. So it's like, little white pill, do you love me still? Why did we part ways? And now I have you back, just like a panic attack. I would never let you go. I suffer from panic attacks, man. I remember fainting once and falling over and waking up and not knowing where I was for a split second, and then realizing that I was actually lying on the floor and looking at the under my dresser. It was really scary because the moments leading up to that, I was in this state of panic. Everything was flashing before my eyes, and then to wake up and be on the ground is scary. So, yeah. The chorus, which I just spoke about before.
All these chemicals, they built this wall all around me, to surround me, to help me when I fall. But I can't hide from what's inside. Slow but steady, I'll be ready to find my way out. The skies are red, but the world is gray. Will you bring me back to life? When will this end? Could I start again? Or am I trapped inside?
Yeah, that red skies I've used in a few songs, maybe in a song before, and it's a common metaphor, right? So that's my thing about the warning. So like the skies are warning me that it's bad, and the world is grey because I just don't like being here. You know, one of the things that, so we will rephrase that. At the time when you're on this stuff, it can numb you and make you feel nothing. And so the world used to feel grey to me, like all the colour was gone. Things would happen and I should have some emotional response and I didn't. And it's a common side effect. It was really scary. You know, and when you feel like you're trapped inside and can I ever start again? Those are, you know, questions I would ask myself. But the way I don't typically sing songs like this, right? I'm singing really low key here, so and you know, low range. So when I sing it live, I can't really do it like that. I sort of have to have it a little bit like an octave higher, pretty much. And that's why it worked, that little segment between this and the chorus was cool, because it's like or am I trapped inside? It's asking a question, and then we get this little bit of a moment, and then I'm back into, you know, all these chemicals that build this wall. And then this, you know, that's the main message. I just really like you know, I spend a lot of time doing vocals on the song. These are all comps now, but just trying to get as much emotion out of myself as I possibly could. Really putting myself in the place. I produce all my own vocals here in my studio, in my room. I listen back to them. I typically send stuff to people that I trust that can tell me if they think it's good or bad. But at the end of the day, I really make a decision based on what I feel. Like when I'm writing my lyrics and my melodies, I have to feel something for me to be connected to it. And if I don't feel it, then it never really makes it onto a CD or to a release. Anything you hear, I'm happy with because it's making me feel something. And this song always makes me feel something. So I sort of play the last chorus.
When I fall,
All the vocals, they're single takes. Sorry, what I mean by that is they're not doubled. None of them are doubled. It's got a doubling sound because of the CLA plugin I use. I give it that stereo width, but there's no doubled vocals. It's just all one vocal take mixed there. So the last thing is before we go is the end of the song. When I sent this demo to somebody, I had this guitar just ringing on at the end here. Which, somebody asked me, why is that there? What are you doing with it? And later on I added a sound effect, and I'll leave that to you to figure out what that means. But that's there. And so that's Slow But Steady. And I'd like to give a special mention and thank you to my students last year who sent me an audio clip of them singing it in the car. A lot of my students were hearing this before it was ever released. And they always told me this is one of their favourite songs, and they liked the chorus. And hearing things like that is heartwarming to me, and it's good to know that other people enjoy my music. So hopefully you've learned some things. If you have any questions, you know what to do, man. Just flick them down below, or message me, or make sure you follow us on Spotify. Come along and see us when we play live. We put our heart and soul into this music when we're on stage, and we need to share the energy that we feel with you, and that's what it's all about, is sharing and being part of that energy together. It's not about us, it's about everyone in that room at that time. Okay, thanks a lot, and I'll see you later.